Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, messieurs, brothers and sisters, fellow journeymen and ladies, welcome to Meet the Blessed. It's a show about where we talk about culture, politics, news, all through Orthodox Christian lens. It's like Meet the Press, but blessed. This week, we have with us three of the finest ladies in the Orthodox sphere. Rachel Wilson. We have Kate. How do we say your last name? Because I always want to go into like French mode. So Kate DeGraide.
You can
DeGraide.
Yeah, DeGraide.
DeGraide. Okay.
DeGraide.
DeGraide.
DeGraide is.
And Jamie Hanshaw Dyer joining us to talk about women in the church, women on the church, women looking into the church, women inquiring with the church. So we'll get into that, ladies. Before we started into the main meat and potatoes of the conversation, Rachel, I have one question for you. What's a hymn? Ready?
A himbo.
What's a himbo?
So a himbo is like a male bimbo. Yeah, I recently called Jake Rattlesnake a himbo, and it really stuck. I felt bad. He had a brilliant moment on his show with Andrew where he said, "Did you guys know that flies, like baby flies, are maggots?" And Andrew thought it must be like a setup for a punchline. He was like waiting for the punchline, like it was a joke. And Jake was like dead serious. He just did not know this, had never heard of this before. And he thought he was like giving us breaking news. And I was like, wow, that's a pretty bad himbo moment. And ever since then, he's the himbo of the group. So sorry about that, Jake.
Here's the thing. Have you been to Australia yet, Rachel?
No.
Yeah, that I get this on a daily basis. This is like that moment. Imagine that all over the place, all the time, constantly. Like other than my parish.
He's actually really smart. He's actually a really smart guy. But he said when I apologized, he was like, "I'm sorry. I said I didn't mean for that to stick." And he's like, "No, it's okay. I do himbo shit all the time." So. Maybe it is an Australia thing. I don't know.
I will be the glorified himbo of the group, so it will. I'm sure I will have a few moments. I'll try not to, anyways. Ladies,
I'll join you in that for sure.
Well, I'm not as cute as Jake, so there's that hurdle to come over. Interesting thing, right? Earlier the week, I guess 2 weeks ago, I had casually mentioned Kat Von Dee in defense of Kat Von Dee. In a X posting thing, Will Spencer from Will Spencer podcast and made some mention about women in the church, and I had it might have actually been connected to the Morgan Ariel thing, which we can get into later, but I kind of mentioned like, well, Kat Von Dee seems to be doing it fine and then it was just a litany of cat haters just showing up. And you never have one of those moments. I haven't had one of those moments in a while with social media because I'm pretty careful. But you have one of those moments you step in something, you're like, I don't even want to be here. I don't even know what's going on. Like, why is everyone upset? I just said one thing. I said the nice lady was blacking out her tattoos, and now everyone's upset at me for some reason. So, and then a few days later, this happened, which I thought was, I don't believe in coincidences. So when I was talking to Neil, when she shared this, I was like, oh, of course this happened. Because then we have Jamie Henshaw, Kat Von Dee, Jay Dyer.
So cute.
I love it.
Kate and Neil.
What are you doing this? I just wanted to kind of be in my own little world there with the Sphinx cat. I was in love
with the Sphinx cat.
Yeah,
I've always wanted a cat. Can you see that?
That's a Sphinx cat. Nietzsche. Yeah. Named before.
Yeah, I didn't even know what that was. Someone had to point it out to me that it was actually a cat. So, ladies, what was that all about? How was that? Because there was a jet. You were part of GT6 for a second. How was that whole weekend? How did that go down?
Why don't you tell us about that, Jamie?
It all started when we couldn't go anywhere for Thanksgiving. And Jay just mentioned to Neil, hey, we're going to be in town when we thought we would be out of town. And Neil said, oh, okay, I think we've got 2 more seats on the plane. And I thought they were kidding. But they weren't. And so we took a nice plane to Kentucky and met the family, and they were all lovely and
The
so
family.
hospitable. Yes.
The family.
The family.
It was so
In a
fun.
non-cult way.
Yeah, exactly. So yes, there is a plane in the family.
Yeah.
My father was a pilot his whole life.
Oh, so it's your. I thought it was Kat's. So it was or some nice drug runner. Whoever.
Yeah. So thanks for let me just find the silver spoon so I can insert it into mouth. But yeah. So he lets us use it every night. If we're coming to see him, we get to use it. And so we dragged them to Kentucky, and Kat was lovely enough to welcome us into her Gothic
castle?
mansion.
Yeah.
And I don't. She's
Nice
just a
business.
very sincere person. I don't know. I can tell you that I don't know why, but growing up, I kind of always had this confusion of why do we think we get to say whatever we feel like about famous people? They're still humans. They're still they're trying to do things just like we are. So I don't know. I've always been a little sensitive about that, but she's been dragged through a lot. So to me, it just seems like I just want to protect her. I want to keep some of that out if possible, because she's on her own journey with her faith, and I think it's based on what she's been through. I think it's probably very hard for her to trust people. So I don't know. My goal in that relationship is to just be trustworthy. She's a lovely person. I think she deserves love. So that's my thought on it.
Yeah,
But it was at her house.
I think she's cool. I kind of know a bit about her backstory just from having been in the beauty industry before in my former life as well. And I used to use her cosmetics brand back when she had it. I know she has kind of veered away from that, but I kind of knew. I used to watch her show way back when she was doing a lot of tattoo stuff, and she's definitely gone all the way full circle from the really satanic stuff all the way through now to being Orthodox. But that's a really common story in the Orthodox convert world. That's a lot of us, a lot of us have that backstory, and I feel like I agree with Jason. I think she's doing it right. She's not trying to teach anyone. She's not preaching anything. She's not trying to lead a ministry or monetize her conversion. She's simply sharing little bits of it. And everything I've seen from her is very modest, very appropriate. I love that she's sharing her homeschooling experience with her kids and the stuff that they're doing. I love that. So I'm fully behind her. I think it's really cool to see her doing that. And I think she's an example of a woman celebrity who came from, another world and is converting and is doing a really good job of handling it. Like I said, the only problem I ever have is, when they Nala Ray did, where it's she converted and instantly started selling Bible study courses. I'm going to teach you what Christianity is, even though I've only been doing it for 5 minutes, and, instantly monetizing the conversion and turning it into a whole new career where she's trying to teach theology to people and lead people in prayer and stuff like that. So I think that's the part I have a problem with. It's not people publicly converting. It's not people coming from a background where they were, into the New Age or the occult or Satanism or anything like that, because we want those people to convert.
And I mean, not that I have any right to speak for her, but she doesn't seem to really even have been into those things so much. She it was more of an aesthetic than it was a faith for her. So I think she's misunderstood in that sense as well. But she's just a very sincere person. She's very humble, and she's very trad at this point. She's, has cooked for us, and she's a lovely host.
Extremely gracious host, good cook. Everything was pleasant about the stay. She was really sincere. Like they said, we all went to church together, so
that had to be a little bit of a spectacle.
Well, some people were like, "Hey, there's Kat Von Dee. Hey, there's Dyer." It's what is happening at my church? What's going on?
Did you play intro music? Did you call ahead? Exactly. And you're like, look, we're gonna need.
Sat on the back row.
We know we say no smoke. We know we say no smoke machines, but just this once. There's going to be a smoke machine.
Yeah, we
going
did
out.
have a few people reach out. We're like, man, we were in the choir loft. Like, we miss everything up there. You know. But yeah, I was watching her show back. I don't know if it was Miami Inc. or LA Inc., but I was like a non-denominational born-again Christian, and I was like, you know, kind of jealous of her face tattoos, like trying to figure out how I could ask Neil if I could have face tattoos. You know, like, no. I've been a fan for a long time.
You could pull it off.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Not anymore.
Jay was gonna get love on his knuckles.
Mm.
Could you imagine that?
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, good times we had.
It's very. I could see Jay going like full Point Break. Not Point Break. What's the other one? With Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro was in the movie. It's gonna bug me. I'll think of it. Where De Niro is playing an ex-con, and he comes out. He's always smoking a cigar, and he's got like tattoos all over the place. He's kind of got that sort of Miami kind of vibe to him. I'll think of it. It'll drive me nuts otherwise. But
I can tell you a really fast, funny story about her, because this just shows like how misunderstood she is. Vampire Love, which is a song I like, but you know, Christians were complaining about the video and saying it was like demonic or something. And it's literally just kind of a dance party that was recreated from Hotel Transylvania, because her son loves Hotel Transylvania. So she just brought that to life for him, you know, and then everyone's like, it's evil, you know. So it's just, I don't know. I would feel like maybe I can't win if I were her, you know, but she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You're going to come up against that if you are anybody with a high profile when you're converting. I think there's some pushback from everybody just because of the culture and how people are tired of being grifted upon. I don't even know if that's a thing, but like,
Yeah.
You know, Christian swindlers is not unprecedented. I mean, that's like a thing, like TV preachers and like Rachel said, if you're diving in to be an expert already and charging money and getting stuff like that, like people are really leery of that. But she's very sincere. She's not trying to, like you said, make any money off of converting. She just posted a couple pictures in front of a church, I think, and that was enough to get people riled up. Like you were talking about Morgan Ariel, right?
Yeah.
Where you that up. I don't know what y'all's decisions about that was. We were talking about that. That was who I showed you in the car that one day. So there's a lot of conversations about who is sincere, who is just trying to get attention, who's trying to subvert. And these are all like, you know, reasonable suspicions, but you can't be overly judgmental on somebody.
No. I thought she was lovely.
Well, it's kind of like, you know, we think of the church as a hospital. You can't expect people to come in already 100% healthy. People are going to be hobbling on crutches. People are going to be, you know, sick with things. And so you can't say that you have to be 100% healed the first time you come. So this is pretty polarizing to me, though, because she's not, this is her very first visit, if I'm correct. I don't know. We're talking about.
As far as I can tell, yeah, I think as for Morgan Ariel. Sorry, for people who are just listening, I just put up pictures of Morgan when she went to the Divine Liturgy. Took us a few pictures in front of the iconostasius, and another picture of the inside of the church, which is quite beautiful church. I don't know whereabouts it is.
Gorgeous.
But and this is from November 24th. There's more pictures of the church. Let's keep our eyes on the prize here. It's from November 24th when she posted it. When I first saw the picture and you know the reactions and all the rest of it, and I saw more people defending it because I guess maybe my timeline's a bit better. Where I'm following Rachel, I'm following my Father John Whiteford chimed in, and a few other notables who are like, guys, calm down. Like it's fine. If there's a problem, then the clergy needs to deal with it, not people on the internet.
Not my
but
circus.
Initially I thought the reaction was what she was wearing. And I was trying to figure it out because I'm like, well, I guess it's a little form-fitting, I guess. You know, but she's got like she's fully covered, like she's more than fully covered, except for a veil on her head. But she's not Orthodox, so she technically doesn't need that. And I mean, it's after service, so I don't know if she's married or not.
No. She's not.
But that was my initial thought, was that was the reaction to it, or that she's too glammed up. And then I was reading down, people were like upset that she was in front of the iconostasius. I'm like, okay, well, look, I'm a lowly catechumen and stuff like that, so I don't want to speak out of school, but I mean, that's a bit silly, right? Like we can allow her to take some pictures.
How would she know any of that? You know, so
right, exactly, yeah.
I don't get the.
Jason had brought up my tweet there on the screen for a second, and I got some really surprised folks who thought it was weird that I was kind of defending her, both publicly and in the DMs. But, you know, I said there, Morgan's no fan of mine, and she's not been kind to me. We've had some like serious beef, and I know I can be a bit of a jerk on X too. I'm not going to say that I'm not. But she can be pretty nasty. Like, she's like said stuff about me that I think most other women would take every opportunity to jump on her. But I know that it's the internet. I know how these things go. And I honestly would love to see her and women that follow her and other people like her come into the church, because it is a hospital, and that's what we need, and that's what we want. And I sincerely support her in her inquiry. Now, I don't know if she's sincere. How do any of us know when any inquirer is sincere? It's not even for us to worry about. We don't need to worry about that.
How do we even know if we're totally sincere, you know?
Yeah, who knows? How would we know? How do you even know if you're fully sincere until you know what you're getting into, right? That's why we call it inquiring. So what I don't want is for other women watching this to be like, I'm terrified to step foot into an Orthodox church because it's already so different. And I already get so many messages from women being like, what do I wear? Do I have to cover my head? I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. Oh, am I supposed to speak? What if I have to get up and pee? Like, is that okay? Like, they're already nervous enough because it is so foreign and so different than like a Protestant church. And I don't want them to see that post and some of the people's like really vitriolic reactions and be like absolutely terrified to ever set foot near an Orthodox church and be terrified of being judged to death for a tiny infraction that wasn't even intentional, or like, you know, seeing her fully covered. And like, by our cultural standards in America, that was a very modest picture. And it's like, you could say, oh, she's trying to get attention and this. It's like, well, yeah, we all post pictures on social media so that people will look at them. And like I said, I don't know if she's attention seeking. She might be. I had one of my good Orthodox online lady friends message me, and she was like, how can you be supporting her? I just can't believe that you would. She was like really shocked at it. And once I explained, you know, my thought process more, and I told her, I've not seen anyone in the clergy condemning this. I've seen everybody in the clergy being supportive, and I'm going to submit to them and what they say every time. If I see multiple Orthodox priests online saying, hey, give her some space, you know, if there's an issue that's for her and whoever the priest is at the parish she's inquiring, I thought that's a perfect answer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And I did even DM her with support. She doesn't reply. I don't think she likes me. And that's fine. She doesn't have to like me. She doesn't have to want my blessing or my help whatsoever. But I do want her to convert. I would love to see her convert. I would love to see everybody convert. So that was my take on it. And I think it was shocking. Like, people thought I was going to come out and like tear her to shreds. I don't know where people get this idea that I exist online solely to be like as mean as possible to women. If you ever watch my content, I don't do that. So I don't know where I get this reputation, other than maybe like whatever shorts, you know, because they pick like the craziest 30 seconds of whatever I say and put that out like with no context.
That was the context I knew you in until recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see how that's taken out of.
Yeah, they'll pick like 30 seconds from this much longer interaction where somebody has just said, you know, I've been super patient, and then finally somebody says something like, this one girl called me like a baby factory. And then I think I fired shots back or something finally and told her a little about it. That's what I said. But I was arguing with her because I was like, we wonder why young women don't want to be mothers or have kids. And it's because of women like you are calling them baby factories, like it's a derogatory term. So I kind of fired a derogatory term back at her. And I was like, yeah, you don't like it, do you? But all that aside, I'm supportive of her converting. I hope that she's not deterred by that. And I hope that other young women are not deterred and that they come to the church. And we're supposed to be letting clergy handle these things. And I submit to them and their judgment on these things. Her inquiry is really not my business. It's very personal.
I mean, my own experience, I've become much more modest in the last 4 years, and I think it is a journey, especially if you live somewhere like Florida. You're like, what's the big deal? Like everybody's in bikinis. So if I mostly cover up, it seems like you're being pretty modest. So it's a spectrum. And I don't know. It seems like God's very patient with our journey. So I feel like we need to be patient with each other too.
Well, I think there's also, when I was growing up, I was raised by my grandparents. That's where Orthodoxy was present. And my grandfather was very much of that, for example, like I've made it a bit now, but he once told me when I was, 8 years old, he's like, shorts are for women, children, and queers. Like, don't wear shorts when you get older, right? And I don't, right? I haven't occasionally as a grown man. I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I got to put pants back on. Like, it's just,
Andrew is also firmly anti-shorts. You will never catch Andrew Wilson publicly in shorts. It won't ever happen.
See?
And it's funny because Jake, being from Australia, he's been staying with us for a bit, and he walks around in these scandalously short, I call them his hoochie daddy shorts, because it's just a little more thigh than I'm used to seeing on a man. And I'm like, listen, Jake, I know you're looking for a wife, but we got to talk about modesty, bud.
Yeah, you're gonna find yourself a husband in those shorts, my friend. Come on, it's like
he's the shorts guy. He's one of those guys. Yeah, he's got those nice juicy calves though. Like most guys have.
He has beautiful.
Yes.
I'm gonna see myself out of this conversation.
That going on beneath their knees, but
I mean, speaking of calves, my husband really we might have to do a calf off or something because he's got the Viking calves. So
nice.
I actually started dating him in the winter, and so I hadn't seen his legs till spring. And he came over in shorts, and it was like, whoa, I gotta rethink everything. Like I didn't know I was dating Papa. I thought he was
you didn't know about those gams, those juicy gams.
Thanks for coming back, Jason. Welcome back.
There's Buck in the chat. There we go.
Hey, Buck.
Jason was getting too turned on.
Do we have a chat?
This is a family show, folks. I have archbishops watching these shows, so just keep that in mind, ladies. Just mind your P's and T's. Where are we going from this? So the interesting thing, I've said this before about especially for Western converts, and it was a difficulty for me, I think, in coming back to the church, and I think for modernists in the West in general, and I'm talking about men here specifically, but I think maybe you can comment on how it is for women. It's the pride thing, right? It's individualism creates a buffer from returning, especially to orthodoxy, because orthodoxy is so much about being humble. Like, you're going to suck at this. It's the dark souls of theology, where even the minor things like knowing how to hold your hand to do the cross, like doing minor rituals, knowing when to bow and all that stuff. You're going to suck at this, and you're going to suck at this for a while, and it's okay. Like, no one's going to judge you for sucking at it unless you go to a Russian church and the little old ladies who will judge you and smack you alongside the head. Other than that, though, most other churches won't be doing that. It's okay. But it's getting past that personal sense of pride and vainglory and going after the passions. Now, Rachel, you'd said something really interesting about that. I think for women, it's like women are coming into it feeling very insecure and already going, well, what do I do? How do I do this? Like, what do I wear? How do I wear it? Like, all these sort of insecurities bubbling to the top, which again is this big giant barrier. One of the things that keeps getting asked on these shows, and I think in general, is how do we get more women to the church so men can meet women, right? Like this idea of pair bonding within the church, because generally speaking, you see a lot of young guys and a lot of families, not a lot of single women coming into the church. So I don't want to throw too much at it, but I think maybe from a female perspective, that pride, vainglory, modernist individualism, how do you see that working for women in the church? Do you think that's similar to the same buffer for men, or the same hurdle for men, or do you think it's different for modern?
I think it's different, and I think the biggest difference is that women are not yes, we are in an individualist country, but women are still very much like a hive mind. They're very, like, I talk about the sisterhood a lot and how we're kind of hardwired to go along with each other, to not go against the grain too much. If you've ever seen the movie Mean Girls, you know what happens if you're like a girl who's not in the in-group. It can be like so unbelievably vicious and nasty that the vast majority of girls with any self-preservation instinct are going to go along with whatever the group is doing. That's why if Taylor Swift does something, every girl in the United States starts doing it. If Beyonce does something, every girl in the United States starts doing it. And in our culture, we're told that you have to be sexy until 70, that if you're not hot and if you're not bangable, that you're like, nobody cares about you, go away, shut up, go away, nobody wants to look at you, nobody wants to hear from you. I mean, I get this. I'm 45 years old, and I'll get idiots commenting on myself, be like, you're not even hot. And I'm like, did you get the impression that I was here to be hot? Like, what planet are you from? That's so insane to me. But when the whole culture tells you, show more, be sexy, look hot, show it all, and every 18-year-old is starting an OnlyFans, it's a huge 180 when you're coming into the Orthodox Church, and we're telling women the exact opposite. We're saying, be modest, preserve that for your husband, that it's not about what you look like on the outside. It's about who you are on the inside and what you do in this world and how you treat people. And it's not about being sexy. It's literally the opposite. So it's a very big mind switch. It's a huge switch for women, especially the younger they are, to live in a culture where 7 days a week you're told, push your boobs up, suck your stomach in, get a BBL, because you have to look sexy. And then you're in the Orthodox Church and it's the exact opposite, and the expectations are exactly opposite. It's kind of a tough thing to navigate, I think, for younger women. But for those who are not comfortable with the over-sexualized culture, it could be a nice haven, because I think a lot of the ways that we get some of the younger girls who are trying to gender transition into being boys, I think for men, I think it's a sexual fetish. For the girls, I think 99 times out of 100, they're deeply uncomfortable with being sexualized. All of us go through puberty and it's very awkward. It's very weird. You have to get used to your woman body. You have to get used to men looking at you different all of a sudden when you go through that phase of life. And I think for a lot of girls, they think, screw this. I don't like it. It's super uncomfortable. I don't know how to handle this. I'm going to be a boy instead or whatever. The church is a great alternative. This is where you can go and be a woman and learn to be a woman and be feminine without having to be hypersexualized. It's a wonderful thing, I think. So I think if we could talk a little about those sorts of things, and how, hey, if you don't want to be a blow-up doll, if you don't want to feel pressured to get fake lashes, fake lips, fake boobs, fake everything, so that you can look like a blow-up doll that's only there for one reason, come to the church where you can be a whole person and learn to be like a woman on God's terms and not on the terms of a culture that just wants you, to see your naughty bits.
Yeah, Jason,
Yeah.
to kind of give another side of that from what Rachel's saying, like you mentioned almost like a pride maybe in not understanding the culture or not knowing what you're going to do. I thought that was an interesting connection you made. And for us, when we moved to Florida, the church near us was Greek. And we were so new to Orthodoxy, we really didn't really understand these different categories of Orthodoxy and what that meant. And so when we showed up there, it was definite culture shock for our family. Like, it was like going to another country. And we understood that it's their terms, not ours, so it's like, we're having to come in trying to adapt. And we told our kids, like, this is their land, so we've got to adapt, not expect them to adapt to us. And I think that was probably one of the most helpful things we've done is what's happening.
That's right. Eat the spanakopita, break a few plates. It's going to be fine.
Yeah, well, we loved it. We love the culture, and we're like mutts. And so it was fun to have like a super saturated solution culture to be a part of. And the kids loved the dancing. But people were suspicious, I think, when we first came in. The yayas were a little kind of side-eyeing, and we did our best to integrate. And now we're at a Russian church with Jay and Jamie, and it's the same thing there. It's like, you have to be okay being what, like a neophyte? Is that the word? Like just you're new, you're learning. And it's been so, like, I would encourage anyone to enjoy that newness, enjoy like the culture shock of coming into something so ancient and so beautiful, and just be willing to observe and ask questions, because it's been huge for our family to just be willing to not be so American, if that makes sense.
And you have to do it in person too. So that's why people like, Morgan Ariel have a hard time, because they're bringing it online. I guarantee you nobody at church that day had a problem with what she was doing or wearing. I'm sure the priest was right around when she was taking that picture, so you have to go there in person. Like we say, taste and see is one of the things that we say. So you have to actually be there. It's not something that you can do remotely. It's not something you can do online. You can learn and you can like make friends, but the actual thing is in person. And it just kind of sucks that an inquirer went to church and inquired and then brought that online. But it's like, online is the Wild West. You're going to get what you get. You come there, what's going to happen. It's going to be mixed, right? And you're going to have a thick skin. Like, if you want to do this, you have to get used to getting roasted and get used to being suspicious of, because there is a healthy element to not allowing everybody everything. So you have to be vetted. You have to go through a catechesis. You have to go through your baptism. You have to go through these steps to be initiated and to be part of the thing. You can't be part of it online, right?
It's a good point. I remember Jim Bob had asked me when I interviewed him originally earlier this year, and we brought up again when he was on Meet the Blessed with Neil, is that Orthodoxy has a natural gatekeeping system, right? And it's not just the catechesis. It's not just the catechesis. It's not just the priest. It's not just the hierarchy. But I'll put it this way: from my experience so far with the church, you see people get weeded out. They weed themselves out. It's like almost like you get in there and then passions start happening, or you have to start to confront yourself a little bit. Father Turbo Qualls put this beautifully. He's like, walking along the royal path, you're going to meet yourself. You're going to meet your true self, because you kind of take off these layers as you go. And for some people, it's like you take off one, you even start to scratch at one layer, like, nope, can't do that. Bail out. See you later. Right. And I think for women, especially for modern women, that knowledge that there is we'll put it this way, a glass ceiling for them, but it's for their own good. It's not just that we're being misogynistic, the patriarchy, da da da. It's like, no, you don't belong up there. Like, most of us don't belong in clergy at all. Like, be part of the choir, enjoy yourself. Like, you can do wonderful things. Let's get into conversation about what women can do in the church. But in terms of becoming a priest or becoming a bishop or running the show or being the boss lady in the church, is like, that's not gonna work out for you, really.
I'm so happy that I don't have to do that. I'm so relieved.
Right? But it is great, isn't it? Like, I've managed places for so long, and you manage your family and do all these things, and you go to church and go, I don't have to. I just have to pray. I just have to suck at this and pray. and they have to answer for us, right? Yeah, and ask my priest, "What can I do this?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure." I'm like, "Cool." And if he says no, I'm like, "All right." And then I go on my day. Like, it's an amazing feeling. But it's that hard thing to get to that point, right, where you realize that your cross isn't that heavy. In fact, it's incredibly light.
Well, once you have been in a parish life enough, you will start to see, if I told you the men run the church and do everything, I would be correct. And if I said the women run the church and do everything, I would also be correct. They both have their places and roles, and there is no church without what the Matushkas do and all the little old ladies. Anybody who's been to Orthodox Church knows that they're responsible for like everything that goes on, all the food, all of the flowers, just everything that the church takes. And so it's not like they're not doing anything, and the priests are doing all of the serving, yes, and doing all the confessions. And so it takes both the efforts of the masculine and the feminine together, like a key and a lock, to make this liturgy happen. So you can't even do one without the other.
That's lovely. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think the only people who even have a problem with that, like the only women or like the really liberal progressive men that have a problem with that, are the ones that think power and authority should be for everyone. And that is a pretty Western egalitarian democratic kind of idea, that we don't like authority. We don't want some guy to have authority, especially just because he's a man. So we need to have deaconesses, and we need to have a path to the female priesthood. And we are not going to be doing that in Orthodoxy over me and a whole bunch of other people's dead bodies. Are we going to ever do that? But certainly there's a place for participation for everyone in the parish. And I think it's a great example of what women have historically always done best, which is, everybody wonders, why don't we have community anymore? Why don't we have extended family and community anymore? The number one reason we don't have that is because we sent all the women to work. In 1970, we sent all the women to work, and guess where they all are? They're all at work and in the cubicles. And that's the other reason nobody wants to be moms, because you used to be a mom with all the other moms. Your sisters had kids, you had kids, your cousins had kids, your mom was around, your grandma was around. And the women raised the children and did all of the community stuff together. It wasn't this isolated thing where it was just me, a stay-at-home mom, all by myself, alone in the house with the kids from dawn till dusk, never getting a break. And that's what it's portrayed as. When you hear people speak disparagingly about women's roles and saying, oh, this is why we need feminism, it's because they'll say, well, you want me to stay in the kitchen all day long by myself? And it's like, no, I would like it if all the women were together again. I would have loved, when I was having my 5 children, if I had sisters and a mom and neighbors and friends and cousins around who also had little kids, and they could all play, and we could do school together, and we could do we could do life together. But now it is like, if you do what I do, it's a pretty lonely path for a lot of women. We do end up having to do it ourselves because all the other women we know are at work. So in the parish, that might be another good selling point for women, is like, hey, this is a place where you can have community and family again, even if you don't have it in your like biological family of origin. All your sisters and your mom are at work and they think you should be working. And if you do want to stay home, the parish can be like a huge source of support for you, where there's probably going to be a lot of other moms who want to be more hands-on and home to the extent that they can. I totally realize that not everybody has the option. We're in a 2-income economy now because we pushed all the women into the workforce in huge numbers, but we can slowly start bringing it back the other direction so that it's a more viable option for women to take on that proper historical role again. I think that would be fantastic. And I think the church is a great support system for women who want to do those things and can't find like-minded women in their lives.
Well, the church fathers extol motherhood to the position of the most important vocation of all time. So if you're talking about a good place to raise a family and to have the kind of prestige and dignity that motherhood gives you, like the church will give that, because they say every job exists to support the job in producing children, godly children. And they even talk about how the mother is the first encounter that you have with morality. So little kids know right from wrong even before they know what God is, or really what right and wrong is, because of how mom treats them, and if she's gentle with them and leads them in a proper way. Like, that's the most important thing that humans can do, and all other things exist to support that, even the man's career, the man's job, or his dream, or whatever.
I can tell you I almost want to say it was like healing. One of the most healing things I've ever been to at church was during Holy Week. It's it's like the tomb of Christ that they walk around the church. I don't know what that's called, but they deck it out in flowers. Yes. And so I was just asked to come serve that day, and I had no idea what I was showing up for. and I come into the, the narthex of the church, and there's all these huge buckets of flowers, and it's old women and young women and children, and they're just decking out, like we're just doing floral arrangements. And at first it was kind of like, it was almost like I was repelled because I've been so conditioned out of those things, And it was like working with these women and working, like the old women showing me how to like do the bows. And it was like, I feel like this is what I was made for. Like, it was so beautiful. And I could see how that had been missing my whole life. And my mother, of course, her and I grew up doing those things together. But it was just so beautiful. Everyone was so joyful. And there wasn't, I don't know. It's like, we're just happy doing what we're good at,
Yeah. Yeah. There's not this like, this weird pressure that you're being oppressed if you're enjoying doing those things with other women. Like, that's the very anti-woman part of feminism, is this idea that like, if you're at home, baking and cooking in the kitchen with the other women in your family or with your kids, that like, oh, shoot, I was having fun. I'm supposed to remember that I'm oppressed and not enjoying this. And I'm supposed to go start a business or become a CEO. And it's just like, yeah, it's really nice for the women who kind of know that they don't want that, but they feel like they must. It's like, hey, there's this whole other part of life. And the Orthodox Church is much more, it never left that. It never abandoned this idea that being a mom and a homemaker and a really active person in the parish who makes all those community kind of details. What are we going to have for the meal, and who arranges that, and who shops for it and organizes it and makes it happen every Sunday and every other, day that we're in the church doing these things. It gives women that community back that we just don't really have anymore, and that I really wish had been around more when I was growing up. I had a little bit of it because I was out in like a rural Protestant area where there was still some of that, but certainly like the older I got and everything, it was like, we don't do that stuff. We're career women and we have goals. We don't just do those things. That's for losers. So it's really nice to feel like I can be a woman and like fully embrace everything that means in the Orthodox Church. And I don't have to be sexy. I don't have to be powerful and prove that I can do everything a man can do. And I can like enjoy all the wonderful things about being a woman and not feel like I'm weird or a loser or anything like that. At least for me, it's been really nice.
Well, I mean, we started talking about going, you guys went to Kat's for Thanksgiving. And it's interesting to me is that, North Americans understand Thanksgiving, even in Canada, is a big deal, right? Or you go for family dinner for the holidays. And it's everyone getting together and doing these big family dinners. And yeah, it's a lot of stress and a lot of this and a lot of preparation, but there's a sense of festivity and enjoyment to it. And people forget that for the most of human history, that was just that was dinner. Like if you had a family of 8 or 9 or 12 kids or whatever, and extended families and some of that, that was just dinner all the time. Maybe not with as much stuff, but with the festivity kind of feeling to it. But yeah, everyone would get together and make a big meal and eat it together.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that stuff's important, Well, it's important.
That's because
sorry.
Everyone's
reacting to someone just said I look like a Western posh. Well, next week. Tune in next week. We might have a meeting of the poshes then. You never know. Sorry, Jamie, I cut you off.
Well, I was just gonna say everyone is looking at womanhood and femininity through the lens of postmodern, post-industrial, the technological times we live right now. And this ideology does not have a lot of space for women, and especially for mothers. And the kind of sovereignty and personhood that we have in America, well, we worship democracy, right? That's kind of the religion, like politics and Democrat ideals. Like they're gonna. Do you remember when they were like, our democracy is under attack? Like they're attacking our sacred thing, because the politics is the religion, and you're not going to get any like prestige or personhood from that secular way of thinking. Only in the gospel and in Christianity are women uplifted to having value outside of what they can produce, like in an industrial world, right?
Yeah.
I can
That's
tell
really good. That's a great way of putting it, because a lot of people also think, this is the other big stupid idea, is that if you're not a boss babe or an OnlyFans chick or an Instagram model, that there's these few roles that are okay to do, and these few ways of being that are okay to be. And if you want to be trad, the online trad police will make sure that no women gets away with thinking she's trad, because it's like, oh, you're using an iPhone? That's not very trad of you. It's like I have to sit in a floral dress and curl my hair and not use technology and be making a sourdough starter all day long, or I'm not trad. Like I've been told if I pump my own gas, I'm not trad. If I speak on the internet, I'm not trad. You can't talk, you can never talk again. You have to wear a burqa, And it's just so silly, because it's like, historically, Jamie's absolutely right. That's not how womanhood was seen. Like, we didn't have this idea that everybody had to leave the house and go to work, for one thing. That's a post-industrial concept, like Jamie said. And so, like, I'll get people that say, well, women always worked. Yeah, they did. But it was like, you worked on the homestead with the whole family, and you were, working was a whole different thing. It's this idea that mom has to leave the house and pay some other random person to raise the kids while she's gone all day, doing whatever her boss tells her. But then the minute she gets home, if her husband says anything, it's like, you can't tell me what to do. You're not the boss of me. So Jamie's right. People think of it all wrong. It's like the wrong concept. It's the wrong worldview through which to see these issues. And that causes a lot of problems for people.
Yeah, I think people just shut down their faculties. I've said that liberalism is the art of stacking mental contradictions. And eventually, it's sort of like, I use the image of, like, it's the cartoon where they're stacking dirty plates in the dish pit, and it's just swaying in the breeze. And for me, it was George Floyd, right? The George Floyd protest, when my daughter had just been born, we're living in Montreal. I looked out my big window into a park, and everyone was doing a George Floyd kneel-in. And at that point, I was a atheist, anti-theist, and a skeptic, and my brain went pink. Like, that's a religious ceremony. Why people having a religious ceremony? What the hell's going on? I have a baby. What's going on? Like, COVID's going on, and I just cascaded, where I'm like, none of this makes sense. Like, I can't make this rationalize this anymore. Something else is happening.
Neil says, the year that the whole world bailed at once. So
right, yeah, and we all had our own like weird red pill, where you're like, okay, so apparently all this is BS, right? Like, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. That all works out until you see, like, people getting thrown out of their house for a Thanksgiving dinner because there was like 5 people at the dinner, and you're only allowed 4, that kind of thing. And then you look around to your other Canadians, you go, what, this is awful. And everyone's like, well, no, he deserved that. The ordinance definitely said only 5 people. And there was, like, what are you talking about? What is going on?
In Michigan, it was crazy, because it was like, the George Floyd protests will not spread COVID, but the lockdown protests will spread COVID. And that's when Andrew and I looked at each other and we went, we're good. It's fine.
Well, and this is the crazy thing, is that you see it on the news and you go, okay, media BS, got it. Mm-hmm. And then I won't name names or my own personal situation, but you talk to some people and they say the same thing to your face, and you're like, we got to get the hell out of Dodge, man. I got to get it done. I got to get a whole bunch of things. and I moved the family to Australia because it was like my wife's bigger and younger here. But then you get down here and it's just like, wow, okay, no jab, no job. What the hell are you talking about? Like, what is going on here?
We thought about moving our family onto a catamaran. Literally, we were actually taking sailing classes, so I'm actually not kidding. But we ended up just moving to Florida instead.
Is the jet not big enough? Is that the whole point?
Well, it's not my jet, so.
Oh, sorry.
But so back to I don't know, being raised in kind of a feminist culture. I think for me, and again, I don't know if this was something that was just true of my family or if it's a universal, but to me, I just thought I had to be good at everything. I thought I had to have a career and be an awesome mom and keep the home together. So there was just this immense pressure to do everything. And I think looking back, like I apologize to my children for this, because I I think I tried very hard to be a good mother because, again, I thought I had to be good at everything. But I think I was robbed of just the joy of motherhood because I was being such a try-hard in every direction at once. And so to sit and rock my baby, it was like I felt like I was being lazy.
Yeah.
To sit in a rocking chair, you know?
I need to get up and be productive and work on my to-do list.
Yeah. So I learned after a couple children, I learned how to wear the carrier and like nurse literally while I was cleaning or cooking or whatever, so I could get way more done because at that point I had a side hustle besides Dirt Poor Robins. And so I'm doing 2 careers and raising, 4 children and wondering why I feel burnout and maybe discontented somewhat. And so if I could go back, I would give my children the gift of a joyful mom, and I would give myself the gift of just enjoying them, Yes. My oldest daughter was talking to me, and she's like, she said, I know it's not going to be as easy as I'm thinking to have a child, but she said, when people are like, oh, it's miserable, you're going to be stuck with a baby all day. She's like, that sounds amazing to me. Like, that sounds like a dream come true. So that's what hurts my heart is that people are suffering in this system that was meant to liberate, And so I just don't think people understand what they're being robbed of, and they may not ever, or it may be too late when they realize,
Yeah. That's pretty much my whole purpose for being on the internet is that I felt like that too. When I had my first daughter at 20, I tell this story all the time, so I'll be super brief, but I had to go back to work 2 weeks after having her. And everybody around me, including the conservative Christian ladies, were like, this is what we do. Because me, I'll just say what I think. I was like, doesn't this seem stupid? Like I'm dropping my baby off. She's going to be there for like 10 hours today, once you take into account my lunchtime and my commute back and forth to work. And I'm going to pay more than half of what I'm making for some other person to be doing what I want to be doing, which is raise my daughter. Who came up with this system? Why are we all pretending that this is great and awesome? And they were like, well, you don't want to be trapped in an abusive marriage, do you? You've got to have your own money and you've got to make your own way in the world and you can't depend on a man. You've got to go to work. And I was like, how am I supposed to be a mom and go to work? Motherhood doesn't seem like a nights and weekends thing, And I just got so much pushback. And I don't think those women hadn't even fully thought through why they're telling me this, why they feel so strongly that you must work and that you can't let your husband take care of those things so that you can, focus. Because especially if you have 4 or 5, like Kate and I do, at a certain point, it doesn't make much sense to be going to work. And 95% of all the time you will ever spend with your children as a mother is gone by the time they turn 18, and you don't ever get that back. You don't ever get a do-over. So you should never feel guilty. Screw the to-do list. Screw the job. That stuff will be there later, especially if we stop telling women to wait until they're 35 to start having kids, which is insane. If we tell them, look, build your family first. And then, if you have your kids when you're kind of young, maybe you'll be like, I'm 45. Now I have a lot of time. I have more time to do other things. You can do a lot of things as a woman. It's not that that you can't do anything. It's not that it's like, oh, these things are for a man and you have to stay in the kitchen and you can never come out. It's not really about that. It's more about having the priority that my marriage and my kids come first. That's my priority. That's my domain, what I'm responsible for first and foremost. And all these other things, like whatever job you may have to help pay the bills, or other things that you really love to do. I love writing. I love doing podcasts every now and again. I love hitting the gym. I love painting. There's all kinds of things I love to do that I try to make time for, but those things are secondary to my family and my faith, which come first. And I want women to feel comfortable and like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I don't have to feel guilty that like, oh, I should be over here building a career or making a name for myself or proving that I can be successful while being a mom. Like, that women can just let that go, because it's so awful. It's a terrible feeling. You feel like no matter what you do, you're failing in both things because there's just not enough of you to go around.
I was transformed by the concept of home as a monastery. that in a sense, as married people, we're a form of monastics or something, if I'm saying that right, and that home is like a monastery where you are training, to be a saint, to become more like Christ, sanctified, theosis, however you want to say it. But I don't like it seems so obvious, but like just that click of like, yeah, how else are you going to become a saint? Like through doing these mundane things in love, and that really, I used to feel really sorry for myself doing simple things like dishes and laundry. And I really did. I was a big martyr about it. And just that little shift made such a difference in my life of like, yeah, this is how God does it, in the home.
Yeah.
Jamie?
I'm reading the chat room. I'm chatting with everybody.
Can I tell you all a quick story?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I love the stories of the saints. It's become one of my favorite things. In fact, like if we devoted our art just to that, I would be happy. But I really enjoy the Holy Fools because I need that humbling. Like it's good for my heart to see these people who aren't afraid to make a fool of themselves for Christ. And so Isadora, Saint Isadora, is she was considered a monastery sponge, they called her. So she did the dishes. And she wouldn't sit with the nuns. She wouldn't even talk to the nuns. She just did the dishes. She would eat off their plates and like drink the dishwater. And meanwhile, there's a monastic out in the desert who has a vision and an angel. Clearly, I'm paraphrasing, but the angel's like, you think you're all that? Like, go to this monastery and find this woman. She'll have a crown on her head. And Isadora would wear a dish rag over her head instead of a head covering. And so he goes to this monastery. There's nobody with a crown. He's like, anybody else here? And they're like, well, Isadora's here, but she won't come out of the kitchen. So they drag her in, and he sees this crown on her head, and he bows down to venerate her, to give her honor, not to worship her. And so then all the nuns start to bow down and like repent because they had ill-treated her. And then she ran out of the monastery because she didn't want any of that, attention. And the story was so impacting to me. Like, I can't tell you how many tears I've cried doing dishes. Like all my children have seen me crying doing dishes, which is pathetic. But one reading of this story and I was changed, like forever. And so I'm kind of a hobby painter as well. And like, I kind of dabble in iconography, nothing, serious. But I did my own painting of her and I put it above my sink. And so I just talked to Saint Isadora and thank her for her humility while I'm doing the dishes. And I don't think I have felt sorry for myself one time doing the dishes since I read that story. And so I just think of that, about this prison that we're in just from our paradigm, and we don't have to be there. We don't have to be in that prison. Go team.
Sorry, ladies. I'm just dealing with, I got some goobers in the chat over on Kick. So I'm just dealing with
I missed that.
critics, let's say. being...
Not that one particularly, but no, it's just, I don't know. Like, how else are we going to learn humility, except for to be humble? So.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's what kind of a big attraction in a weird way for Orthodoxy, other than my family connection to it, was that how Orthodoxy puts suffering on the right in front of it. Suffering is a very important part of Orthodoxy, not just in ritualizing and understanding it and practicing it on some level, but contextualizing it. When I had veered off into atheism at age 12, as my grandfather died of bowel cancer, and I couldn't figure out, I didn't understand, or couldn't square that with God being all loving, all knowing, all powerful. And I'd done all my prayers and all that stuff at that point. And it's like, well, how does this work out? Like, how would you do this to a good man? And I couldn't square that. And it took me 35 years, something like that, to figure out that God's love includes suffering. And you have to have both those things. You need the sour to be able to taste the sweet. They're not separate from each other. And when you make that, and it's not a logical thing. It's not something you present to someone and you go, aha, it's a mathematical formula. Get it? Got it? Good, right? It's something that clicks. And as soon as it clicks, you're like, good, I need to go through this. I need this pain. It's good. It's as long as I suffer for God and no one else, it's going to be in context. It's good. I just have to know how to use it. What's this going to open up for me? How do I go, okay, well, I can't do that now. How do I do this? That's sort of I think the greatest gift of Orthodoxy is that context. And I'm talking more of like a mental frame without the high tier theology. You can put things in context better. And then that sort of that towering contradiction stack just gets reduced. There is no contradictions. It's just like, this is life. This is reality. You get to live it. Lucky you. But, and whatever you're going to go through, there's the church and there's God. Even to the small things like understanding grace. The show is called Meet the Blessed because it's a take on the show, but it's like being blessed or having a state of grace is, again, something that I think has been so cheapened because we see the prosperity gospel people and all the rest of it, tack it on to everything. But to actually feel it, I can't describe it. It's not like some, aha, everything's beaming down. There's the angels on heaven. It's simple little things. I'll give you an example for this show. Like this, we've been trying to get this show together for the last few weeks. And it was just one thing, it wasn't working, or it was a mix up on times and etc. And Rachel, I won't share your itinerary, but you almost couldn't come on today because of stuff. And then last minute, well, within I guess 48 hours, you messaged me saying, "Oh, I can do this now." I'm like, well, see, there you go.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that God moved everything in the world so Rachel, that's what I'm actually saying. God moved everything in the world so Rachel Wilson can be on the show. But it's little graces like that. And that's where you get thankful. That's where you go, see?
Yeah.
It's little things.
Like somebody just asked in the chat, they were like, why would you cry about having to do dishes? It's so easy. I don't get it. And I'll tell you why. Because as a woman in this culture, especially if you show any promise, any talent when you're growing up, if you show any potential, everyone around you will kind of pressure you and push you as a girl. Like we push girls like, oh, you've got to go to college. You have to get good grades. You have to prove that you can do it. You're a smart girl and we expect a lot of you, especially like somebody like Kate, who's like a really gifted singer. She probably had people all around her kind of with all these big expectations. And then when you have a baby, like this is what I got. When I started having kids, it was like, oh, it's a shame she'll never do anything with her life now. It's over for her. It's just like this idea that I can't do anything else and I'll never be anything except just a mom. So as a woman with talent and promise, if you're sitting there doing the dishes, you've been conditioned by every Disney movie, every pop song, every TV show you've ever watched in your life telling you that this is oppression. You shouldn't be doing those dishes. That is a waste of your time and it's somebody oppressing you and you shouldn't be there doing that because it's just, you need to be doing the more important things. You need to be getting out there and being successful and making something of yourself. And it's like, that's what Jason was saying. Yeah. Like, and Kate, it gives you some humility to be like, I'm not above dishes. I'm not a goddess. I'm not a princess. I don't have to be the world's biggest pop star or a CEO. I don't have to be one of the Sex in the City women. Being just a mom is pretty damn awesome, and it's worth a lot. And doing these dishes, you can do the dishes under, when you learn about Orthodoxy and you get the Orthodox mindset, the phronema, you're doing the dishes and going, thank you, God, that I have a family that made these dirty dishes. Thank you, God, that I have a spouse that I can cook this meal for. Thank you, God, that, I have this home to clean. These things are not a burden. These things are not oppressing me. These things are me taking care of these wonderful blessings that I've been given from the Lord. And it's just a whole different mindset. And so, yeah, to me, that's why I always say feminism was supposed to liberate us but from what? From who? And it turns out that it didn't do any of the things it really promised. And it, gave us just a new and different prison that I think is worse. So
Jamie and I were talking earlier about, for me also within that context, I think when women started to think, there's something better besides being a mother, potentially women quit being motherly or maternal. And so even if you don't have children, like, I think if we were more maternal with each other, like I've struggled with female relationships my whole life. And in thinking about this interview, and like, I don't know that I've spent much time thinking about feminism, honestly, in my life, but in thinking about it, it's like, I think it's hurt my female friendships because we're not maternal with each other. We're not being nurturing. We're not loving each other. We're not looking out for each other. In fact, women are being competitive with each other. And when I was growing up, it was like, I felt like everyone was competing with me all the time. And it was like, I'm not competing with you, and that might've been my own pride that I felt above that or something. But I think that's been lost too. It's not just the beauty of motherhood, but the beauty of being maternal, whether you have children or not. I don't know. My heart's kind of being called to that, I feel like.
Ladies, sorry, I just 1 second, because I'm getting this, like I said, these guys over on Kick. I'm assuming guys, and they're starting to annoy me. I just gave them the opportunity. I just gave them the opportunity to come on the show to voice their little peanut brains.
This is why I don't do that.
I just figured we shut them down, because otherwise, if you don't shut them down, they kind of go away. So if you shut them down, they go away. So I'm just going to bring these guys up on stage in a second here. Give me a second here. I'll just do a grift goal here. As Gorilla Biscuit saying, money, Jason, now, money, Jason, now, money, money. You send me money, and then I have money. And this is a good thing. Send me money. You can sit over on Streamlabs. You can sit over on YouTube. Many people are giving me, many people, wow, giving the money over on YouTube. I can't do Donald Trump. I do a Chris Walken.
I was just
Donald
gonna
Trump.
say, it sounded like
It's
a Christopher
amazing.
Walken to me.
What are you crazy, Rachel? It's Donald Trump, maybe. Peanuts in a bag. Send your money over on Streamlabs. Send your money over on YouTube. Send your money. You could mail it if you want. However it's easiest for you. You just send that money over to me, and I appreciate it. Send your likes and your subscribes and all your shares, and of course, subscribe and check out all these fine ladies' content over at Dirt Poor Robbins, over at Jamie Hanshaw and Rachel Wilson's channels. Hang on a second. We're just going to call these goobers up here so we can just take care of them real quick, since we have a Rachel on the panel, and Rachel's quite good at this. Hang on a second here. Wait.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Hang on. Wait. Unmute, dude.
Hot pop.
Hey, are we unmuted? Can you hear us?
Unmute.
I
Can you
knew we were
unmute?
going to get trolled.
Are
We were
muted?
talking about your calves.
Not muted.
Your sexy
You hear
calves.
us? Can you hear us?
Can you all show your calves?
Yeah, show
Can
us
you
your
unmute?
calves.
Do you all have badges? That's amazing.
Woo!
All right,
This is
ladies.
such-
Look at those gams.
Wait,
Are
can they
we
hear
in
us?
trouble because we're speaking in
You think
public?
My priest is never going to bless one of these shows again after this. You know that, right? He's going to watch this and go, that's it. Pulling the plug.
Some good, clean fun, Michael.
All right, listen. You guys have talked long enough. The hot cops are here. All right? Too much lady speak. Too much lady speak. And Jason, we're tired of you simping. We're tired of you simping for the pretty Orthodox ladies. We got the real questions here. See if you ladies can answer them.
I'm gonna go wash. I'm gonna go do some dishes and cry now at the sink. Okay.
No, you're just
You
leaving.
guys-
Yeah, you're leaving because we're gonna roast you. We can't pick on the ladies. Oh, he left us.
Jason, don't
Okay,
give up your
girls.
channel.
Oh, where'd he go?
All right.
Okay.
All right, who's the
I can come back
hottest
whenever I want.
feminist that we want to convert to be not feminist?
That's right. Question one. All the guys in the chat want to know hottest feminist that could become Orthodox.
Well, I want Stevie Nicks in the church, but I don't
Oh,
know if
that's a
she's
good
the
one.
hottest
Ooh.
feminist. I think she'll bring all the witches
She'll
for all
bring
of
the
our
witches,
single guys,
okay.
so
That's
How
a
about
tall
Stevie
order.
I say.
What's her name? Mary Wollstonecraft? Mary Shelley's
Oh.
mom?
She's not hot. She's
Great
dead,
for her.
dude. What are you talking about?
She's dead. You can't name dead people.
But she's hot for a dead person.
I don't even know who this person is.
Ah,
It's
come
those
on.
bones.
Jezebel? Is Jezebel hot? Bring her in.
I'm not sure. I
know,
know.
You know who I think would be the best Orthodox convert, because she's probably the person who needs it the most, is Cardi B, because she's actually really funny in like a really weird way, and I could only imagine her being Orthodox and be like, when you become Orthodox and you wear your head covering and everything, you don't gotta wear the wigs no more. You know what I'm saying? And she could have like the long nails with all the Orthodox stuff on them, like. That'd be some good PR.
There's not a lot of sassy black girl Orthodox. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah.
Here's a question.
What about
would a wig count for a head covering?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So the real important question we came here for is the guys have sent us to ask, ladies, what's going to bring more ladies into the Orthodox Church? We got a lot of single guys hanging around.
My priest was just visiting me, and he asked me the same thing. He was like, me and all the other priests don't know what to do, because we're looking at 4 or 5 male converts to every 1 female convert. I agree with Jay. You got to drag all the Protestant girls over, because they are only Protestant because they don't know what else to do, usually. And the minute they have like a different option, they're usually like, okay. Like the Protestant girls aren't like, no, I only believe in sola scriptura. You know what I mean? They don't know. No, they don't care about that.
Yeah.
So,
I was hoping you're going to say more bake sales, but
Neil. Good
no.
point.
More apple pies.
Bake sales.
Yeah.
I don't know I think for all womankind, but for me,
we got a 420 at the bake sale here at the Orthodox Church. All the ladies are coming in with their dreadlocks.
Jason, can we cut them off?
Come on. This is helpful.
Does the hierarchy of this channel think we should?
If someone sends $100, I'll kick them. $100 a kick.
$100 and we get kicked. Jamie,
I
have questions.
What is happening right now?
To see how many plush toys are on Jay Dyer's couch.
I had to explain to Neil why you collect plushies anywhere we go. So this is now you're going to be part of Pizzagate because of
That's
this.
so cute. For me, the beauty of the church is what drew me. And it's something I feel like Neil and I have been trying to bring beauty to the church, since I've known him. And it was all there. So we were kind of trying to recreate the wheel,
Well, ironically, what Morgan Ariel did was more attractive to women than the way that a lot of guys act online towards women.
Well, I think there's a bitter white pill here, because I mean, who's the ladies are in the news right now from Wicked, right? It's Ariel Grande and that other creature who was also Black Jesus, apparently.
Cynthia Erivo. Yeah.
Right.
Terrifying.
And it's interesting
and they just cry. Every interview, they're just holding each other and crying. It's super weird.
I feel that Neil and Jay are doing trauma bonding.
Jay doesn't like to be guys.
They're doing trauma bonding.
I just want to say right now, I will absolutely.
All right, here's a subject that'll bring Jay back. Okay, top 5 ways a guy should not approach a girl to become Orthodox. Okay, top 5 ways.
You know what? I'm the wrong person to ask, because like Jim Bob tells people, he's like, Rachel's weird. Don't listen to Rachel about any of this, because she wants to listen to debates and learn theology, and none of the other women do. So don't ask her. So I'm just going to let you guys handle it.
Yeah, Neil had me at hello with Orthodoxy. So I was an easy sell. I was ready. I was ready to jump.
Jamie, you got any suggestions? What should they not say?
I encountered it before the entire internet, so it's a whole different thing now. There was no orthodoxy online apart from maybe early on Ancient Faith Radio. So I only knew it from going into the church and meeting the people face to face and realizing, oh, these are the most like non-insane people in the world. If you can believe that.
Yeah.
Based on us.
Yeah. These are the most normal people I've ever come across.
So normal, guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Non-deranged, normal people. And I grew up in a super strict fundamental, not my parents, but the church I went to was like complete Calvinist, Bill Gothard, weird cultish, you have all these things that you can't do as a woman and you can do. So it's weird seeing this tide turning again back to that, because I was like, when I was a teen you're not supposed to wear pants. You're not supposed to listen to rock music. You know, it was full like 90s evangelical mom against Halloween. Court, right? And I found the Orthodox. I'm like, oh, they're normal. The women have jobs and they can leave the house when they want to, and they wear pants and they have opinions and they have like a say in what goes on. So that was like super attractive. There was no Theo bros online to attack you like there is now. Not that Orthodox bros are bad, but there is and I wanted to say this too, there are groups that are going to try and subvert and like come into your spaces and act like they are part of this when they're not. They're subversive agents. We can prove that. Rachel knows all about that. Not only in the anonymous profiles, but people who like go to the church and pretend to partake and like take pictures. So that is an actual thing. Like people will try to go and subvert. Not that we can recognize them all the time or that we should be trying to, but where was I going with that one?
I just, you know what I do is I put on a plate.
I attract women to the church. Yeah.
I just do jazz hands when I don't know what to say.
No,
I think these are good
they're
answers.
capturing online this crazy subset of like bots and paid for commentators, and they usually have like an anonymous name. They'll have an Orthodox cross in their bio, and they'll be saying the weirdest things that you've never even heard of. Like it's not even Christian the way they're acting.
Right.
So these are the people that normal girls are encountering and thinking this is Orthodox, and it's not.
Well,
Yeah, and they're
all right, that's a
they're
good
from
answer. Hey
they're
guys,
from all
you know what?
sides of the political aisle too, because you've got like the progressive, like the ones that want to push the gay stuff and the feminism stuff, and then you've got the people that want to push the like ethno-nationalist stuff and squish that into orthodoxy, or like there's all different kinds of bizarre infiltrators, and if they're saying stuff that's like crazy extreme and they've got like 17 followers and they're anonymous, like just block them. Just
Bingo.
block 'em.
All right, that's exactly what I was hoping someone would say. My work is done here, ladies. Good work. You're doing this. You're doing it well. You're doing it well. Whatever the well is, you're doing it.
We're not getting a ticket. The hot cops are not giving us a ticket.
Well, you know, you'll check your email. Bye.
I think too, I don't know. I think converts are kind of mucking everything up personally, and I guess I'm one of them. So I am very slow to speak because I'm new to this, and I do feel like so many people are just bursting out of the gate with all of their opinions, because we all get to have opinions about everything now, right? And I think all of us converts just need to walk a little more slowly and just learn the ways of the wise a little longer before we, start spouting off. So I think that might be one of the problems of women coming to the church, is people, maybe the men, being a little overzealous in how they share, or it takes so much humility, And so like we have friends where the guy really wants to be in the church, but the wife doesn't. And the advice they're getting is to be gentle, to be patient, to pray. And I think as Americans, we're just used to like making things happen in our own strength, and maybe even as former Protestants in a lot of ways, I think, speaking for myself, I was used to making things happen for God, And so the Orthodox way of kind of letting God have his way and being patient in that is maybe not a very American practice,
Yeah. I don't have like a good, easy answer for bringing women into the church, other than to say, like I said earlier, they usually kind of follow whatever the group is doing. So as Orthodoxy becomes more popular, you're definitely going to see more women in the church, because they do what's popular. Generally, that's what they like to do. They don't love going against the grain and being the only person to do whatever it is they're doing. I think we should be careful with women, just like we are careful with other groups, right? We don't want to cater to the Protestants too much and end up Protestantizing the church. We don't want to cater too much to Roman Catholics and end up, Latinizing the church. We don't want to cater so much to women that we feminize the church. I think we just need to be patient. The, Orthodoxy in the West is exploding right now, but it's very new. We're at the very beginning of this giant snowball. I think with just a little more time, the problem's going to correct. So I think we just need to be a little careful not to like try to pander super hard to women either. I think they will see all the wonderful things that those of us women who are in the church love about it, with just a little more exposure and a little more time, and as it becomes more popular.
Well,
Memetics.
Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, just really briefly, Memetics takes care of most of it. The reason why I can make that prediction in 2023 and how it's going to be like that light switch. Like I said, you see these traditional cooking shows that are on TikTok and a few other places, and they're getting millions and millions in views and very little pushback, essentially. And they start creeping in. Like Nala Ray goes and does cooking shows, not out of the goodness of her heart, because she understands that that's a massive market. And there's like no defense to it. People will just watch it. And of course she sexes it up and does Nala Ray stuff. I've seen the whatever clips of it. But that's the neo-traditional, I call it Neo-Tradz with a Z, kind of force to it, right? It's going to be Zoomer. It's going to be a lot of it when Buck Johnson was on the show, he talked about hot topic Christianity, right? It's going to be a lot of surface Christianity or mush Christianity. It's going to look like it, because people want
nerf Christianity,
nerfed Christianity or nerf herder Christianity. Yeah, a lot of that. But the bitter white pill here is that, okay, fine. Let's say 90% of people, let's say it really sweeps the West, right? And everybody in some way, shape, or form starts doing performative Christianity to some degree. Okay, well, at least then we'll have some performative Christianity. That makes things a little bit better. And out of that mush period, let's say we get 1, 2, or let's go crazy, 10% of people convert to the church and do it honestly and authentically. That's a huge number. That's a lot more than it was 10 years ago. That's for dang sure, or for at least for the last 60 years. So we're not going to save everybody, and we're not going to have these massive numbers and big stadium events. But fine, good. Look what that's gotten us. So I think there's lots of reasons to be helpful and to be hopeful about it, and also just realize that once enough high profile people start doing this, everybody's. You said that, Rachel. You said this, like Taylor Swift goes. If Taylor Swift goes Orthodox, my goodness, we're going to need some infrastructure dang fast, because we're going to. I don't know. We're going to get the priests from. Because
kind of brings us full circle back to Kat Von Dee. There's probably a bunch of women who follow Kat and have followed her forever, and they're like, "Ooh, what's this orthodoxy stuff? I'm curious. I want to check this out now." And that's all you really need,
I want the shirt, I believe. But we were hanging out with Nicholas Kotar. He's one of Neil's friends, and I don't know, a year ago or 2 years ago, down in the Keys at John Heer's Supra event, and he made a really good point about, how connected like the culture that Orthodoxy comes from in this country, whether it's Russian or Greek or whatever, and how it's really hard to separate those things. They're so interconnected. And so he was kind of warning against the dangers of like immediately ripping it out and saying, well, we'll do our American version of that. And he was like, maybe after a couple hundred years, America will have its own. But really, like he says, you really need to lean into those cultures, because we don't know what we don't know as Americans. And that's been one of the, most interesting parts of this journey for me, is realizing how Western my thinking is. And also realizing that that's not just human, that it's like, just because I'm an American doesn't mean that equals human. Like, no, there's different ways to be human, right? And so just trying to look at my brain and say, how am I just thinking like an American or a Westerner, and separating those things has been very easy. And I think that's I think people can almost be allergic to what they see in the Orthodox Church, because they don't realize how American their thinking is, and we don't want to submit to authority. We don't, we're the rugged individuals. So we kind of have to deconstruct some of that Americanism, I think, to embrace the beauty of Orthodoxy.
Jamie.
Anyone? Bueller?
I was reading the chat. It says,
I feel like
I'm like poking you to make sure you're still awake, because you wouldn't understand the reference. Like every single Meet the Blessed, there's usually one person who's been driving all day or really, really tired for some reason. One person who who we didn't think was going to make it, but just barely makes it on time, and another person who's having massive audio issues. So like it's so if someone falls asleep if one of the guests falls asleep during the stream, it's fine. It's actually kind of part of the show now. It's part of the canon, if you will.
I'm participating in the chat. That's why when I go quiet. But someone said it's hard to convince women to switch to a church that doesn't have as much of a strong female community. Well, that's true. Like if you've been going to, a Protestant church for a long, long time, and then your husband's like, oh, I think we should be Orthodox, that's going to be hard to uproot your whole family from that community. But I found the Orthodox Church having much more for women to do than a Protestant church, and uplifting them even higher than a Protestant church ever could, just by having female icons.
Yeah.
Right.
That was one of the
by not making Mary's name a dirty word, because that's the kind of Protestant church I grew up in, where it was like, don't you talk about Mary. You can mention her one time on Christmas and that's it. And if you ever talk about her again, it's idolatry. It was just like, it was very bizarre, because it was Calvinist. So I think that's why they were so incredibly anti-Mary and so iconoclastic. But we have fantastic, epic female saints as role models, and that's huge. I think that should be a big draw. That should be a really big draw. And we have female monasticism, which is, the Catholics still have it, but Protestants don't. It's like very rare in the West and in America especially to have female monasticism as an option. So that's, not everybody's going to be monastic, but at least we have that as an option. My patron saint, Saint Catherine of Alexandria, is pretty awesome. She debated 50 of the best philosophers in her kingdom, and defeated the pagan philosophers to the point that they all converted and were even willing to be martyred because she had them so convinced. And she was royalty, and she didn't need to be doing that. She was beautiful. She could have had the world, just like Satan tempted Jesus with, you can have the whole world if you just bow to me. Kind of like that. She could have had like this easy role in life as like this royal, beautiful woman, and she did this instead and ended up martyred herself. And it's like, it's pretty badass. Like we have some pretty badass. We got female saints that are like beating demons with sticks. We've got like female saints who are like, burning bad guys alive, and we've got some pretty based female saints. So that should be.
We just celebrated her yesterday because we're on the old calendar.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful story. I love her story.
Two last points. I'll throw this up to you ladies and see what you do with it, and then we'll wrap her up. One is that I find that interesting. I think it was St. Paesos or someone along those lines said that the Orthodox Church is the most materialistic church. If you look at it in terms of how we have like lots of things, right? Like we have the braziers, and we have the icons and the prayer the prayer ropes and all the accoutrements, right? Like so it's hyper materialistic. And when you go into the churches, unlike a Protestant church where it can literally just be a building with a cross on it and some pews and there you go, the Orthodox Church, even a humble one like my mission church down here, it's still designed to be beautiful, and there's still a sense of beauty within it, right? Something that women tend to want to be attracted to. Something that my friend Charles Padilla once said repeatedly on the show is that men are romantics posing as pragmatics, and women are pragmatics posing as romantics, or let's say desiring romantics. Like generally speaking, women are actually much more pragmatic than men, but they're attracted to that romance, to something that's beauty and something that they can even lend themselves to do. So I think maybe to answer that question, how do you get more women in the church? Just to inquire in the church is show them like there's all this stuff you can buy. Look at all the things. Look at all the little things. It's little nosh of things. Like, look, you can little braziers and some incense, and isn't that nice? And come and see. And it smells nice, doesn't it? And so I like, yeah, knickknacks.
Knickknacks, ladies.
We in high school we did a lot of travel to Europe with my school, and my mother would always buy me an icon in every like European country we went to, even though we were Protestant. she was very open to that idea, and I'm grateful that she was. My father bought me this like ancient icon of Jesus. He loves auctions. And so I had this throughout high school. I always had it on my wall. And even when I married Neil, he had come out of Catholicism. And so his whole family was kind of like born again at this point. And so I kind of hid these icons because I didn't want to offend anyone, but I cherished them. I treasured them. And so when I heard the story of Empress Theodora, who was married to the iconoclast, I so related to her story because she hid the icons, and then after his death, she restored the icons back into the church. And that was so moving to me, and such a brave thing she did to bring that beauty back to the church and to be brave enough to do that. So I don't know. That's what we've always wanted to do, is to show the beauty of Christ. I ask her every day to help me show the beauty of Christ. But I think women loving women and not attacking them is probably how we're going to bring more women into the church, honestly. Being mothers.
Anyone else?
I like it. I like it.
Conversation killer. Sorry about that.
No.
Good night, everybody. The other question, let's say last question, last point before we wrap it up, because Rachel, you brought it up, is that the attacks on the Theotokos, on the Virgin Mary, I find extremely interesting and interesting. I think I've seen them ramp up in the last, let's say, 2 years significantly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just because I'm more in the sphere or not. It's just like because I watch everything, and I've noticed way more attacks. Just in weird places. Like it's almost like you're walking along, and all of a sudden it's like bad words about Virgin Mary. Like, what is wrong with you people? Why? Like, it's a nice day. Why are you attacking this nice woman? It's just it seems to be everywhere, and increasingly so. And I feel like this is. I've said that the coming age, the age we're in right now, is the age of the vengeful son. It's the offspring of the, let's say, the tyrannical father archetype and the devouring mother archetype of the last 60 years have sort of given birth to this vengeful son archetype, right? It's basically like by Gen X and Gen Z coming together to burn everything down. Extremely iconoclastic, very very vengeful, very very resentful. It's not just masculine, but that sort of archetype of the young man, of a 19, 18, 20-year-old who just wants to burn everything down. So that's what kind of is that spirit, that vibe that's hitting the room right now. But what's outgoing is the last 60 years or so of that devouring mother, of that inverted feminine spirit. We're talking about cult feminism, all that kind of stuff. I know Jamie and Rachel, you've done a lot of work on that. Is that inversion of the divine, right? Of the proper place for women, and really the best model for women is Mary. Like, that's your model. Christ is a model for all of us, but Mary, the Theotokos, is the model for women, specifically for mothers, and that's kind of who you're called to be the most like. And so to invert that, I feel over the last 60 years has really been sort of, we talk about debaucheries, and we talk about all the sinfulness of the age, right? And fine, but I feel that inversion really is like that's really where that spirit of evil comes from, right? That's where I think we're all kind of waking up out of that period of time, going, okay, something's really wrong here, because it's almost destroyed innocence in the society, and now this spirit's I think it's going after the kids. Like, that's the next step, is to attack and destroy the category or the let's say the people's idea of what children are. I think that's the final stage. So anyways, I'm throwing a lot out of the room, but maybe we can speak on that. Like, ladies, what do you feel about that sort of attacks on the Virgin Mary, attacks on Mary? Where do you think that's coming from? Where do you think that kind of brings us?
Attack on Mary, attack on womanhood, where all of this goes is transhumanism. So like what Rachel and I talk about, the feminism, the second wave feminism, especially when they came out with birth control, is attack on biology, and what they would say is we're trying to free womanhood from the tyranny of the biological family. And they want to eradicate womanhood altogether. And I even printed out this talking about robo-wombs. So that came up this week on Twitter. They made a lamb. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So artificial wombs are in the they're on the table now, and they're saying, oh, it's over for women because we can grow our own babies. Like every guy wants to be a single dad now. Come on. Right? Nanny bot. Okay. But feminists, like, they don't understand that it is actually against women. So if you say the word feminism, it's kind of like saying ice cream. Like, what kind of ice cream? What flavor? Is it like, shrimp ice cream, or is it vanilla? Like, is it bad or is it good? Like, a lot of people think that feminism just means that you care about women and what their needs are. But according to the actual writers, it is very anti-woman, anti-biology, anti-organic, carbon-based life forms. Like, you can get as weird as you want. So this goes straight into the technocracy and the transhumanism and making cyborgs literally out of women, because they don't want you to be able to procreate in the natural way anymore. They want to divorce all of the natural oxytocin and all of the hormones that you get from natural birth and natural sex, and take it into the direction of like a brave new world, right?
Yeah.
Grown in pods without any love. And so that's the trajectory of feminism, TM, as it is today, is straight into robotics, robo-husbands, robo-wives, robo-wombs, just living online in your coom pod or whatever, you're like coom scrolling all the time. And women no longer have that like elevated status in society as wives and mothers. Everybody is like flattened out, androgynous widget or some kind of like perfect ashlar now that you can use to build like your utopian society.
So did you say coom scrolling?
Yeah, coom scroll.
That's perfect. I'm going to using that, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm acquiring that one. Anyone else? Like Rachel?
Yeah, Jamie nailed it. She kind of absolutely hit the nail on the head with that. She's right. There are articles that I reference in my book going back over 100 years where people who were in this progressive feminist ethos, at the turn of the century in the early 1900s, from everybody from Bolshevik feminists to like Western classical liberal men were writing about how feminism is just the tip of the iceberg and that the final frontier is overcoming biology. It's overcoming the human condition and trying to live forever and trying to merge with machines in the future. And like, so people over 100 years ago were envisioning this very thing that we're doing now. And people like Elon Musk, God bless him for being pro-natalist at least, but he's pro-natalist for all the wrong reasons. He wants to live forever. He wants man to merge with machine. He's like a biological determinist, so he wants everyone to have babies, but not for the reason we want them to. We want them to because humans are image bearers of God. We are icons of Christ. That's why we're pro-natalist. And the Theotokos is the second ark, the way that Christ incarnated. There would be no incarnation without her, which is why we venerate her so highly and why all the Protestants are wrong. Love you, Protestants, but you're wrong. I say that as a former Protestant. So I think the attacks on her are because she's kind of the bulwark against all of this crap, against the idea that, women only get put in these boxes because they are wombs, because they have to bear the children. And if we can just get rid of that one characteristic, then they're just interchangeable widgets and everybody's a Mr. Mrs. Potato Head. We're a non-binary potato head. You can just plug and play different parts and everybody can be all the things or none of the things or whatever thing they want to be. There's no rules anymore. And it essentially makes us God, right? So it's like, I think a lot of people aren't thinking this through, right? They're not like consciously thinking that this is why they're so anti-Marian, but I think she represents everything about our redemptive history, about, the incarnation of what it means for the full recapitulation of all creation, not only human beings, like Orthodoxy has a whole different idea when it comes to that than the other types of Western Christianity do. So if you're against all that, you're going to not like her. And you might not even consciously realize that that's why you don't like her. It might just be this like deeper, where people just knee-jerk react and they don't really know why. Because I feel like a lot of the people, at least online, that post anti-Marian sentiments, I don't think they even know why they're so mad about it. They are always so vitriolic. They are always so nasty. There's like this really nasty spirit, like you said, a vengeful spirit behind it. And it is shocking. It's like, what? Like you said, like, why are you so mad at her? What did she ever do to you? Why are you mad if we honor her? Why are you mad if we call her blessed? Why are you upset that we see, like our church calendar? My priest was just talking about this, how our church calendar starts with her. Because Christianity kind of starts with her. It doesn't mean that she's a goddess. It doesn't mean that we worship her as a goddess or anything like that. It's just that that's kind of where Christianity starts with the incarnation, is with her. So if you're against her, I don't know. It's tough to be Christian. It's tough to be Christian if you hate the Mother of God. Well, they hate that we call her that.
In my experience in Protestant churches, it was more like just the, she was just Jesus' mother. Like, so there was just was kind of the big word. I didn't really experience a lot of attack on her, but I do think there's obviously like this allergy to how we treat her because of the overcorrection from Catholicism. But in just a little bit of research I've done, which is not much, it seems like most of the reformers actually held her in high esteem, and thought that she was a virgin and thought she was worthy of veneration. So I do think it's worth Protestants going back and looking at, the founders of the Protestant church and seeing their sentiment about Mary, which is very different than what you would find now.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I got one of my friends kind of inquiring based on that alone, because he was, I don't know all this Mary stuff you guys do. I just don't get it. It's just not, I guess it's nice, but it's not necessary. And they say this all the time, right? Because Catholics took the faith and added stuff, and Protestants took the faith and took things away. And as Orthodox, we don't add things and we don't take things away. And he was just like, I just don't know why you need icons. And it's not necessary. Do I need icons to be saved? Do I need to venerate Mary? Do I need to care about Mary? Can't I just pray to Jesus for my salvation and just say, Jesus, come into my heart and I'm saved? And I showed him a bunch of quotes from Luther and Zwingli and Calvin saying how important Mary was, and saying that she's like to be highly respected and venerated, and that love of her is written on every human's heart, and these sorts of things. He had no idea. He was like, how did I not know this? And I said, my friend, once you find out how many things you don't know about your own Christian history, you're going to end up Orthodox. So.
Mic drop.
There's a clip. Ladies and gentlemen out there in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, messieurs, brothers and sisters, journeymen and other seekers out there, let's wrap this one up. We'll go around the horn, let the people know where to find you and where to consume your contents or buy your products. Rachel, we'll start with you.
Sure. I'm Rachel Wilson. You can find me on the Rachel Wilson program on YouTube. I hardly have been streaming for the last year and a half. Slowly but surely, I'll be getting back into it a little bit more. Still got to prioritize finishing the next book, but I will be doing some occasional streams on YouTube. In the meantime, go to my Substack, rwilson.substack.com, for really cool articles and essays, and go to Occult Feminism, The Secret History of Women's Liberation on Amazon, and buy the book. It's in Kindle, audiobook, hardcover, and paperback.
Jamie Hanshaw Dyer.
You can find me on YouTube under my name, Jamie Hanshaw, and the show's called Out of This World. And I'm also on Jay's Analysis with him a lot, and my books are there for sale on jaysanalysis.com in the shop. Woohoo!
Kate DeGraide.
Jazz hands. Kate DeGraide, Dirt Poor Robins, like the bird, 1B. And pretty much anywhere but TikTok, I think you can find us, whatever your social media pleasure is. But we're totally independent. So any support is much appreciated.
And of course, I am Jason Mironchuck, your humble host and narrator. I'm stealing that from Buck Johnson. What are you going to do, Buck? See, what are you going to do? Thank you, folks, for all the super chats, all the help and support, all the likes, subscribes, and shares. And we'll, of course, be back very soon. We'll be back tomorrow with Jim Jatras, playing on some other solo shows as well. We'll, of course, be back next week, possibly with Jim Jatras again, and a little man called Posh Redneck. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. We might have to fix the bass for Posh and I to be on the same show together. We might have to do some audio fixes, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. And again, folks, thank you so much. We'll see you again soon. Thank you, ladies. Thank you very much. It's an absolute pleasure. Hang out for a second. We'll chat after the show. But this is good. It's just this was balancing. Dinner plates. It's spinning a lot of dinner plates to make this show happen, and I appreciate you for coming on, and thank you again.
We do take care of the plates, Jason. So
yeah, I'm gonna go cry now. I was gonna go cry in the corner. Thank you, folks. I am Jason Mironchuck, and it's later than you think.